Afternoon, guys. Welcome to Football Brownie. Hope you're all well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe during this pandemic, and especially spreading the love. Right. Before we go any further, as the banner says, please like Football with Brownie. Hang on, let's get it all in sync there. Come on. Right, there you go. Please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to Football with Brownie on YouTube. There's my Twitter handle as well. Football with Brownie Facebook page. That's gone over 550 overnight. 550 likes on the Facebook page. And that's my Instagram. Also, as well, I went over the 400 subscriber mark for the channel overnight. So thank you ever so much. You know, for your help or your support, and you know, spreading the word, I guess. Anyway, while we waiting for my guest, where the hell is he? Oh, it's been a lot of talk about Martin Odegaard. So I just thought that, as I'm based in Spain, and my guest, whenever he turns up, is based in Norway, and he's an Arsenal fan, I just thought it would be good to have a chat and to see whether or not Odegaard to Arsenal could be a good fit or not. So when he turns up, I will get him in. Anyway, in the meantime, let's go into some detail about Martin Odegaard, because I would have done this and Sam would have been twiddling his fingers anyway. Right, Martin Odegaard. Now, he plays an attacking midfielder. Now, you know, people have said that he plays as a cam centre, but I've seen him on occasion play for Real Sociedad on the right-hand side, and then he cuts in. So whether or not Arteta plays him as a cam and he rotates it with what's his name? You guys will bring a name up now. I can't even think. Emil Smith Rowe. Or he puts Odegaard on the right-hand side, fixing the problem they could have, because let's be honest, Pepe and Willian hasn't been up to scratch. I don't know what you guys think of it. Anyway, so let's go on a bit. Right, he's on loan. He will be on loan from Real Madrid, and he's also in the Norway national team. He made his debut Strømsgodset. Oh, I wish Sam was here. Come on, Sam. At April 2014. He then became the youngest player to feature in Tippeligaen and become the youngest goal scorer on the 16th of May 2014. Right. He then started attracting a few foreign clubs. Odegaard was signed by Real Madrid in January 2015. He's registered for the reserve team at Castilla, but trained mainly with the first team. On 23rd of May 2015, he became the youngest player to represent Real Madrid. In January 2017, he was loaned to Dutch side Heerenveen for 18 months, then on to Vitesse Arnhem before Real Sociedad, each for a season loan. And now to Arsenal. Odegaard made his international debut against the United Arab Emirates on the 27th of August 2014, becoming the youngest debutant in the senior team at the age of 15 years and 253 days. On the 13th of October 2014, he became the youngest player to feature in the qualifying matches of the UEFA Championships. Now, this is interesting. You go into his youth thing. Odegaard spent first years with local sports club Drama Strong. Oh, please, Sam, come in, because this is, you'll have to do these Norwegian names for me. His father, Hans, a former footballer himself and co-founded the football section within the club, became the coach of his son's team. In 2005, when Odegaard was 6, his parents invested 50,000 kroner each so that the local club could refit their gravelled field and replace it with artificial turf. This has been cited as a crucial development for their son, Martin, who spent countless hours on the field. Drammen Strong was twice selected by Odegaard to receive a prize of 50,000 kroner, which is around about €5,800, when the young player was given a talent award in April 2014 for the 2014 season. Later in 2015, the same club, Drammen Strong, received 250,000 kroner, the equivalent to around about €29,000, as a gift from Strømsgodset when Odegaard was sold to Real Madrid. In 2009, Odegaard joined the youth division of Strømsgodset, and he trained with the older boys. The Norwegian FA also organised young talent in local district teams. He played first matches for his team in January 2010, when he just turned 11. All in all, this guy was spotted at a very, very young age, let's be honest. And he's, the progress he has made during his early teens, really, especially playing for Norway at the age of 15, it's just incredible. So, what do you think, guys? What do you think? Whether or not you think that he's going to make it in the Premier League? I noticed that a few people have said, "Oh, he hasn't got Premier League experience." Well, Premier League experience can go both ways, can't it? I'm a Cardiff City fan. My team was in the Premier League on 2 separate occasions. Both occasions were awful, as in performance-wise. We didn't get the results we needed. So, does that catapult, in some people's eyes, does that catapult them to having, because they got Premier League experience, Man United may as well buy them. It doesn't work out like that. This guy, I've seen him play for Sociedad and Real Madrid a couple of times, but mainly for Sociedad last season, right? And he played so well that where are we now? He actually had La Liga Player of the Month September last year. That's La Liga Player of the Month in September last year. This guy could well rip a new one into the Premier League. And I think personally, I think that it's a brilliant bit of business for Arsenal. There's a small loan fee, and the wages aren't that big. I'm told 38,000 is the wages. So that's not that big, you know, in terms of footballing wages. I don't know. I don't know. Many people have also complained that it's only a loan, and so. Let me tell you exactly where Real Madrid seem to be at the moment. Real Madrid are in a huge catch-22 situation financially. It's COVID going on, and them and Man United are two financially, marketing-wise, are the two biggest clubs in the world. Right? Let's see. One second. I think we finally got our guest. Right, so the biggest clubs in the world. So Real Madrid have got a ground redevelopment in which they're currently doing. And it's come at the right time, basically, because no one can come into grounds at the moment. So, you know, there's no kind of be no issues with crowds and so on. But that redevelopment is costing a hell of a lot. They putting the roof on, and it'll end up looking like a spaceship, which will be sad to see in some aspects, but it has to be progress. At the same time, we got Sam coming in now soon. At the same time, the team and squad is getting older, and they need an absolute complete refurb on the pitch as well as off the pitch. However, in my opinion, as a manager, I think Zidane has been found out. He's falling out with players left, right, and centre. Varane wants out. There's issues with Sergio Ramos, although according to Guillaume Balaguer, they will have a better understanding regarding Ramos and his whereabouts for next season in March. So that's still a upheaval. We all know about the well-publicised issues with Gareth Bale. Lucas Vazquez have also asked to move. Now, you've got Odegaard going out on loan. Modric is coming to the end. You know, it's going to be a massive, massive transition period. And on top of that, they've had to go cap in hand for a loan of 500 million euros. So it's not on a scale of Barcelona kind of debt, but it's certainly worrying. And I think, like every football club at the moment, you know, big or small, every football club is struggling financially. So, will there be a possibility of Arsenal getting Odegaard in the summer? I don't know. I really don't know. While I'm waiting for Sam. Hi, Natasha. Hope you're well. Hi, Indiana. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. And guys, please check out. Oh, hang on. Check out Indiana and the First 11. Check out their channel. I'm sure that people enjoy being guests and interact. Channels who interact live with the live chat. Definitely check out that channel. And I'm on there every now and then. Normally when I'm drunk on a Friday night, but I'm on there every now and then. He says anyway. He says it will work out. Arsenal are back. Well, we'll see. And finally, we got our guest.
Well. Look, we're
how are you? Jeez, I tell you what, I didn't know whether you were taking a Spanish siesta.
I'll tell you what it was. I got the time completely mixed up. I was thinking when I was reading 3 p.m. I was thinking UK time.
I know. You know, I should have said that.
No, listen. I know you and I are in the same time zone, so obviously it's my mistake. But I'm just so used to reading UK time. That's what it is. So I had 4 p.m. in my head, obviously. So yeah. Anyway, my mistake. Sorry about that. But I'm here now anyway.
Yeah. No worries. Well, Sam. You would have been clicking your fingers most of it anyway. Basically, as you know, I asked you to come onto the channel because you're an Arsenal fan, very big Arsenal fan. You're also based in Norway. So I thought, and with me based in Spain, I thought, who else, what other pairing would be better talking about the Odegaard loan to Arsenal, really?
I'll tell you what, you make some good points.
Well, I've gone through his development, let's just say. And you know what? It really brings a smile to my face, exactly what his parents done for him, during his youth years.
Yeah.
He's still only 22. But I was reading about his father, Hans. He took over. Now, you're going to have to help me out with these names. Yeah, but the local sports club, Dramanstrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very small local, very small local club, not many people involved.
And both him and his mum invested 50,000 kroner so that club can have a refit of a gravel field into making it into artificial turf. And it says that was so critical to his development.
Yeah.
Because he spent countless hours on the pitch.
Yeah.
And then, as time went on, he went to Strømsgodset.
Strømsgodset, yeah.
Right, not too bad.
Not too bad. No, that's the big team here in the area. That's the Premier League team.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So when he went from there to Real Madrid, they passed on 29,000, which to the youth team. Which, to be honest, I'm assuming he didn't have to. But
no, I don't think it was written down anywhere. No, because what it was Strømsgodset. They got a nice pot of money basically for the transfer to Real Madrid, and I think it sort of agreed by Strømsgodset that they would pass on some of that money to Strong, just to be nice, basically, just to help them because they're such a small, tiny little local club, So for them, just a tiny little bit of money goes so far for them, So it was, it's just a very nice gesture for them. It wasn't a lot of money they gave them in the big picture, but still for that, for such a small club, it would be quite a lot of money.
Yeah,
I can't remember now what kind of money it was, but I know it was quite a lot for them anyway. So that was good.
And he made his debut for Norway at the age of 15.
Yeah. Debut in the Premier League at 15. Yeah, in the Norwegian Premier League, youngest ever in the Premier League at 15. Yeah, he was just an amazing talent. Just had it. He had it all, and he was just. They were afraid. I think they're afraid of his physique because he was a bit small.
Okay.
But he was a strong kid, he was strong. So, and the Premier League, the Norwegian Premier League is not very physical. I mean, it can be physical at times, but in general, it's not very physical. So he could get away with it, and he was just very, very good. He was a playmaker, for Strømsgodset at 15, and everyone could just see he was an immense talent. And that's when all the clubs, basically every club there was basically interested in him. So
well, he actually did go. He did go training as youth with Manchester United.
Yes.
Had some training sessions with Man United, but and Bayern Munich as well.
Yes, because over here, the way the Norwegian the youth setup is at the national level, what they do is they actually have agreements. The Norwegian national level youth setup, like from the under. I think it's from the under 16s basically, I don't think they go under 16s. Under 16s is the lowest level. Then it goes to under 18s, then it goes to under 21s. But at the under 16 level, you've basically here in Norway, you've got basically 14 to 16-year-olds who are the biggest talents in the country.
Yeah,
they'll roughly be at about 14 is the lower age and 16 the upper age for the under 16 bracket. And what happens over here, they have agreements with some of the biggest clubs in Europe. Like I know they have an agreement with Manchester United, they have an agreement with Manchester City, they have an agreement with Bayern Munich, they have an agreement with I think they have an agreement with another big club as well. I can't remember, another big European club. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but they have various agreements where they can send players on like a learning trial, basically. Okay. So they'll go and train for 2 or 3 weeks as maybe a group of 3, 4, 5 players will go and train with them and learning and help themselves develop as well. It's a very good deal. It's a good way of getting players out there and, to train a bit and get a bit inspired, by a professional environment and all that. And so Odegaard, from what I recall, he was one of a group of the best under 16s at the time. He went to Manchester United and Bayern Munich, to train with them for a few weeks as part of that program, And I think also Bayern Munich knew. A few of the clubs knew who he was by then as well. So they probably had their eye on him as well. I think that's what was going on as well. But he did go to Man United and Bayern Munich, and they. I'm not sure what happened after that, if they actually offered him or anything. I'm not sure about that, but. There were many clubs interested in him. Dozens of clubs were after him.
Well, over here in Spain, it seems they have like soccer schools, and you'd be surprised, but even the likes of Milan would come here and set up a soccer school, within Spain, where you think obviously Barcelona, Real Madrid will try and sweep it all up, but. You do see Milan trying to come in on it now. So it's different, and it's interesting that different countries work it differently, and how the results.
They'll have a different development. They have different development setups, don't they? Like some countries will have like a centralized academy. You've got the what's it in England? I can't remember what it's called. For the youth. The FA Youth Academy. It's where all the talents go and go together, basically. St. George's, isn't it, or something like that? Something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Yes. Anyway, it's the FA Youth Academy for all the best youth. They'll go there and show their skills off and basically get contracts with the big clubs in England, and in France it's La Fontaine, in Paris, or just outside Paris. They go there and they from a young age, and the big clubs pick them up from there. Here in Norway, we don't really have that. In Norway, we don't have we have what we do is we have these specialized sports colleges where you'll go to school, basically doing your schooling at high school level at the same time as you're specializing or training in your sport.
Like an American way, then.
Like an American type of setup. Yeah. So we have a football division of that over here. There's a top sports college, the top one, where basically all the top players go to, who get the high school diploma while training football every day, and then what it's all tailored set up so they can train with their clubs as much as possible as well, and it's all tailor set up. It's a very good setup to get their schooling, but it's not like an official academy or anything like that. The only way you get that here in Norway is by being part of the national setup. If you get part of the national setup, like from under 16 level or up, then there's all those different programs available. They put you through, like for example, like I said, you go on like a what's it called, an exhibition trial, to one of the big clubs and stuff like that.
No problems. And I'd say he started off here in Spain with Castilla, the Real Madrid B team.
Yeah.
So if we are looking now, right? So he finished there in 2017. So he would have been 19, I think.
He started off with Castilla. That was the agreement, obviously, because they wanted to develop him, and it was Zidane was running Castilla then at the time.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because you had Carlo Ancelotti.
Exactly.
He was at that time.
And I remember that was one of the big selling points for Odegaard, was to be able to actually, be mentored and coached by one of his idols, basically. I mean, Zidane was one of his idols.
Yeah.
Obviously for obvious reasons, one of the best players, arguably ever in modern history. One of them, and to be able to be mentored and coached by him was something that really appealed to him, and Zidane liked him. Zidane, saw all the footage and everything, and from what I've learned, he actually really liked him and saw a lot of huge potential in him. So he wanted him to come, and he actually wanted to coach him and mentor him. He actually went both ways. Zidane actually had some admiration for the kid, So that was rather interesting, and because there were literally dozens of clubs who could offer him, an easier way to the first team.
Yeah,
I mean, Real Madrid is basically, on par with Barcelona in terms of, you've got the most difficult path to the first team from youth level.
Doubt. Over you, Sam.
Yeah.
In a day, Saturday mornings, on terrestrial TV, you would either get women's football, or you would get B team football, basically.
Yeah.
You can count. It'd be the amount of times in which you think, oh, you got something good, and then you never hear of him again. And they must have the pick of a talent of across the world, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's what's it called? The academy at Barcelona is La Maesa or something like that, isn't it? What's it called? Something like that. The academy at Barcelona, and they pick from all over the globe, like you say. They've got all the best talent.
Whereas back in the UK, I mean, when I was a teenager, you could go anywhere, but then they put a rule in then that there have to be a certain mileage from the club, because you did have the likes of Liverpool, Man United, and all that coming down to South Wales and picking everybody, and then Cardiff and Swansea were like, what the fuck?
And also you had all the we went through that. I'm not sure what it's like now, but we did go through a long time because the rules were so different here. Sorry, not here, where you are in Spain, with all the youth contracts. It was much easier for the bigger clubs around Europe to give them big money contracts and poach them, because Arsenal's been in that Barcelona academy on several occasions.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Fabregas, isn't there? But
you got Fabregas and Bellerin,
and
that Fran Merida, who was supposed to have been just as good as Fabregas, but he just fizzled out. That Fran Merida,
they've blocked all those type of loopholes now, I think.
Yeah, I think they had to, basically, because I think they were sick of losing all their best talent, basically to big contracts abroad, weren't they? Yeah.
So he went then, he made a couple of appearances for the first team, but mainly went on loan to Heerenveen in Holland, and then Vitesse Arnhem in Holland. Now, the Dutch league is an average league, let's just say.
Yeah.
You can compare it to. I mean, I mean, you know, they have. Do they have two teams in the Champions League? Don't they? Because of the rating of the
Yeah.
league.
Yes.
So you know, it's better than Scotland, but it's just short than Germany, I would say.
I'll
So
tell you what. I'll tell you
it's a
what.
good
The Dutch league is a very good. I would say a very good development league,
development. Yeah, yeah,
because you
yeah.
see Ajax is basically just it's just one big youth academy, really, isn't it? I mean, the way they develop players, and that's actually that was Ajax were one of the teams I think were actually in for Odegaard at the
Okay.
same time as Real Madrid. And I remember at the time, because I was reading all about it in the papers here. You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of you know, a lot of press and everything, international press as well, all around him at that time, because he was basically one of the biggest talents in the world at the time. I mean, a 15-year-old, you know, attracting all that attention in the football world. It was like another Freddie Adu, basically, you know. And so Ajax, I know, offered him quite a lucrative deal as well. And I actually said I think he should have gone to Ajax, because I think at Ajax he would have actually. I think he would have developed maybe a bit quicker, and I think he would have had he would have had an easier route to the first team. I think he would have been playing first team football in the Eredivisie quicker, you know, at a younger age. So I was actually a bit surprised to see him not go there, because he ended up there anyway. You know, I mean, in the loan setup, you know, he, like you said, he went to Haden Ven. And the other team, I can't remember off the top of my head now. What was it? Haden Ven and the other Dutch team he went to later.
Yeah, Vitesse Arnhem.
Vitesse Arnhem, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he went to. So he ended up. I mean, not ended up, but part of his progress was in the Dutch league. And I was saying, well, he should have. You know, I was thinking he should have been there anyway. You know, but he chose Real Madrid for obvious reasons. You know, and yeah. Like you say, his development is quite a good story, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So you got to Haden Ven. Yeah, I think he was about 18 at Haden Ven. I think he was about 18.
Let's check out.
17. I think he was 17
Shows
or
how much
18.
homework I've done, eh? Shows how much homework I've done. Yeah, 2017, 2018. And he's... Well, he would be... You'd left it 20. You would have left it at 20. And then Real Madrid announced that he would go on a further season loan, but this time to Vitesse Arnhem.
Yeah.
So that would have taken him to 20 to 21, you know, years of age. And then last season, obviously,
Real
Real
Sociedad.
Sociedad.
Yeah.
Now,
and he did really well in Real Sociedad. That's where
he did.
That's where he really showed. That's where he really started to, I would say, start to show some of his potential. Start to show his abilities.
And it was, you know, okay, Real Sociedad, they do well this season, but normally they average a mid-table La Liga team. But yeah, it was a better standard, and he definitely rose to the occasion. He did have September La Liga Player of the Month.
Yes, and at Real Sociedad, he was regarded as one of the better players. They liked him very much. He was a popular guy in the squad in terms of, you know, they liked his ability and what he attributed to the team. He's a very down to earth, you know, hard-working kid. You know, he's a real dedicated. You know, he's not a partier. He doesn't drink.
Okay.
You know, he's not a party kid. He's never been a party. In his youth, he never partied or anything like that. He never went out with his mates drinking and stuff like that. He took his football and his development very seriously. And
are you taking a piss out of my youth development, son?
No, Adam, I'm not.
You know, it was nothing wrong with going to the bus stop with a bottle of cider. You know.
You know what? It's that same path most kids go. You know, you see it. I've seen it so many times. You know, the young talented kid who's very, very good at 12, 13, 14. When it starts to get a bit serious and, you know, the talent's not good enough, you've got to put work in. You've got to start putting in that grind, that work.
You call me a lazy bastard now.
That's when things start to go wrong, and you get to that age, 15, 16, where your mates are out drinking and smoking, and you just catch on to it, don't you? And that's it. That's what happens,
You get me depressed now, Sam. but to be honest, that's a good thing as well, of taking a kid out of his environment.
Well, you got to remember his dad. You got to remember his dad, Hans-Erik Odegaard. He's a well-profiled local. I mean, he's very well known here in the local community because he's actually, not only is his family, his father as well. They started a very well-known clothes company here in the local area. They run a very well reputable clothes. They sell men's clothes wear, but good, the real quality stuff. Like the Armani, Gucci, Ben Sherman, all the good stuff and the suits and everything like that. It's his company. Took over from his father, who started it. I mean, that's Martin's grandfather. His father's father started it. I can't remember now. It's been going for a long time. And then Hans-Erik, that's Martin's father, took it over. But before he took it over, he had a career as he was a good local footballer here as well. And he played professionally for Strømsgodset as well. He played for Strømsgodset during the 90s.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at it now. 189 appearances, 41 goals.
Exactly. So I remember watching him here, going to the games here, watching him play.
He actually coached at Real Madrid when Martin first came over.
Yeah, he went over there because he wanted to do some to help out with his kid and everything. Because he's coached his kid from a very young age. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why Martin has become so good, because he did actually give him, one-to-one, coaching from a young age, and he took it seriously as well, because Martin took it seriously, so his dad took it seriously, which I think is a good thing. And
too right.
And so he got a lot of extra training from a young age, individual training on certain skills. I mean, they did a lot. Where he really excelled was he did a lot of skills training, which is something they don't really do over here, which is something we're crying out for. It's become better. It's become better now in the last, I would say, the last generation now. But before this last generation, we didn't have many skillful players.
I suppose it was because, well, this is a point we may as well get on to it now. Norway. Now, I first went to Norway to watch Wales end of the 90s, maybe, and they were so, focused on British football. As supporters, and even going back, even when you had the old free foreigner rule, which at the time foreigners would actually include Scottish, Welsh, and Irish in the teams. British clubs or English clubs would always keep an eye on Scandinavian players, because they seem to settle in far more quickly than maybe 7 European players. Maybe it's the
and also I think also you're right. You've got some good points there, and also I think it's also to do with the style of play and the type of player, because they had a very similar style of play that not very skillful but just tactically good and strong.
Kick and rush.
Kick and rush, basically. And the Scandinavians are strong, good physicality, strong, tall, strong players, and the culture, like you say, is very similar. So they're settling quickly, and the style matches.
Exactly, and that's where so many people were complaining about the British style back in the 90s, back in the early zeros. We get nowhere in international competition. But then once it progressed, then the likes of Norwegian football progressed, because they focus so much on British football.
Exactly. The beginning of the 90s, when there was the golden generation, we call it here, was they got into. I mean, there was a golden generation, the end of the 80s, the beginning of 90s, of players who really, like you say, they got into a lot of the big teams, not just in England but around Europe as well, because the style really matched. That was the style of football back then. you know, basically in most places.
I actually put money on Norway to win the World Cup in '98.
I don't. I tell you what. Even as a halfway Norway supporter, they weren't good enough to do that. Even though we know how well they did in that tournament. They basically got to a quarter final, but they just didn't have the personnel to get beyond that. But they didn't have this. They didn't have the ability, what you need the metal to get beyond that. But what I was going to say was, interestingly enough and fascinatingly enough, and people aren't really aware of this, is that basically I just want just going to say a short intro into how it got there. But like at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, Norwegian players had a gold generation. They come up with some very good players who got into the English teams. They got into the German teams, and what happened was all of a sudden you had a Norwegian national team that were good. The way they played together, it was not necessarily like skillful, very talented players. I mean, they were good professionals and they played for top clubs, but they just played so well together, and the tactics they used, that very direct football,
very direct,
football,
very Wimbledon-esque.
With Jostein Flo up top, winning the balls, knocking down balls and holding up balls for the players around him. It was so effective. It was really, really effective with Egil Olsen, or Drillo Olsen, as he was known.
Egil Olsen started up front, and it was managed by Egil Olsen.
That's what I'm saying. Egil Olsen or Drillo. Drillo Olsen that's his nickname. Drillo Olsen, but Egil Olsen was his name. Yeah, Olsen. And he was, he was a very, very good manager, very good man manager, very good motivator. He got the team going, and they had the 90s for Norway was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And actually, people don't realise this, but going into the World Cup in 1998, Norway were the second ranked team on the FIFA ranking. Norway were the number 2 in the world on the FIFA ranking.
Yeah.
And that's when you say that to people,
they put money on them.
That's what I'm saying. But when you tell that to people are like, "What? You must be joking." Norway, because they had so many good results through the 90s, and they got far.
I remember going for the '94 World Cup, right?
Yeah, they got to the.
And they topped the group. They topped the group, and it was out of England and Holland who would get that second place.
Yes. Norway, got to remember, Norway. That was for the qualification for the '94 World Cup.
Yeah.
So that was 92 and 93. They played those games. Yeah. And Norway went to Wembley, 1-1 at Wembley, and they completely outplayed England here in Oslo, 1-2-0.
Was that Gallagher's last game for England? I think
I can't remember really. I just remember Chris Woods was in goal for England, and he had a shit game here in Oslo. A shit game, I'll tell you what.
That's the and people look for it, and that's the Graham Taylor documentary, isn't it?
Yes. Not like that? Do I not like that?
Yeah. Carlton.
Yeah.
Carlton Palmer.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what, that was Lars Bohinen. Remember Lars? We call it Lars Bohinen, but I'm saying it in the English pronunciation so you can recognise it. Lars Bohinen, who played for Blackburn, and
you had Henningberg.
But I was just going to say now. I'm going to tell you, right? People don't realise how good that Norwegian team was. I'm going to tell you players now, right?
One second.
So the back line.
I just need to blow my nose. Actually, right? I'm going to knock.
So Norway, the Norway national team in the beginning of the 90s, they had in goal. They had Torstvedt, the Tottenham goalie, very, very top level goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The back line was left back was Stig Inge Bjørneby, who played for Liverpool.
That's right, yeah.
The right back, I can't remember who the right back was now. Sorry, I'll have to try and remember. But the centre back pairing was Ronnie Johnson and Henningberg, who were actually the centre back pairing for the Champions League final in '99.
Yeah.
People don't realise this, And then you had Lars Bohinen in the midfield. You had Odegaard, who was one of the top players in Germany, very good. Box-to-box midfielder.
You had Gunnar Halle. And he could hit the bloody free kick.
Haaland before he got topped basically by Roy Keane.
Eric Bakker.
Bakker was a little bit late. It was a little bit later, but yeah, he came in at the end of the 90s. And many good players. And up front, you had Jostein Flo, who played for Sheffield United and a few other teams. But he was
and
such.
Andre Flo as well.
Andre Flo, his brother, who was a very skillful player at Chelsea, skillful player.
Yeah.
But so those two worked well up front. But the thing with Jostein Flo, what he was a master at, which worked so well during the 90s, was knocking down balls in the air. I mean, he would win every area. He would win every header, and he would knock it down so precisely to someone around him. So the play was always directly shifted up into attack, and it works. That type of tactic works so well. But anyway, that's Norway in the 90s. It's a very good team, and it bred the later generations to come up. We went through a bit of a rocky period in the 2000s, but this younger generation coming up now, there's a lot of good players coming up now, and Odegaard and Haaland are basically leading the charge. But back to Haaland. Back to Odegaard. Yeah, so he went to the Netherlands, and then after the Netherlands, he was in Real Sociedad, like you said. Yeah. And Real Sociedad, he did very, very well. And then he actually got to come back to Real Madrid, and he started to play for Real Madrid, and he started playing well. And then all of a sudden, Zidane decided he didn't want to play him.
No, being based over years, Sam, obviously I get a lot of Barcelona and Real Madrid news, which they want to put out, let's just call it propaganda in other ways. But there seems to be a massive split, which was simply only between Bale and Zidane, seemed to be much wider now in the changing room, because it's now bringing into the likes of, you heard yourself, Guillem Balaguer YouTube clip where you said that Sergio Ramos, his future is not going to be known until March. You've also had Lucas Vazquez, who said he wants to move. Varane wants to move. Now with Odegaard going to Arsenal. On top of their ground redevelopment and the fact that they have to have a 500 million loan, they have to have a development on the pitch as well. This could be, the next decade could be very, 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 very poor in Real Madrid's kind of, performance-wise. It couldn't be going back to the 80s where they done absolutely nothing in Europe, really. So would it be would it really be a case of, if he does work out at Arsenal, do you think Arsenal would have the money to praise him away from Real Madrid?
Well, the thing is, what kind of transfer fee are we looking at? That's what I'm wondering with Odegaard. Is he, is he top bracket, or is he in between? Because if he's not getting into the Real Madrid team, then in my opinion, he can't be top bracket. In terms of transfer fee. Well, in terms of I mean, he could have fingers crossed, he can have a very good. It's going to take him 2 or 3 or 4 games to maybe get into it. But then towards the end of the season, you might hopefully, Arsenal fans and myself, of course, hope, fingers crossed, he can be a very good influential player for us. And if he has a very good end of the season, that of course is going to do a lot for his value. But at the end of the day, if he's on loan and he's not getting into that Real Madrid team, he can't. Surely he can't be top money, can he? That, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, but unfortunately.
So I'm thinking probably.
Is it a shrewd customer?
Well, yeah, he's a shrewd businessman. He's going to want his pound of flesh, isn't he? But the thing is, for me, I'm thinking maybe a realistic transfer fee. If he has a good end of the season, I'm thinking maybe a realistic transfer fee is maybe in the 40 million mark. Maybe I just can't really see going over that when he's on loan. I mean, he's not playing for the team. I'm talking Real Madrid now, so he's not playing for Real Madrid.
Yeah. No, I know it. all the speculation, and Guillaume Barguet actually said this, during that live stream he done the other day, is that it looks like Zidane will not be manager of Real Madrid next season.
No, he's not very popular at the moment, is he? To be honest,
Now, if they went in-house, I think Raul is the manager of Castilla now, and they moved him up because I think they were after Pochettino before he went to PSG, but it all would then depend on whether or not the new manager, whoever that would be, would rate Odegaard. And if he does well at Arsenal, then surely that new manager is going to say, I'll keep him at least for.
But then you got Odegaard as well, right? His wishes. So
yeah,
from what the newspapers are saying here, the sports journalists here in Norway who actually have access very close to him, I would say very reliable information. They're saying that he's not happy at Real Madrid. He's not happy with the situation at Real Madrid. He's not happy with the way Zidane has treated him, and he's not happy with the situation at Real Madrid. He wants to play football now. He's 22. Yeah. He's 22 years old.
Yeah,
he's been there for 6-7 years.
Because he must be looking at the likes of Haaland and
exactly.
Exactly,
and that's why Haaland, a lot of people ribbed him for going to Borussia Dortmund instead of Real Madrid or like a Bayern Munich. But like I said, he needs that further development. He needs to be playing regular, games every game. And look what he's doing. He's doing fantastic. And that's what Odegaard. That's what I said. I criticised. I said when he went to Real Madrid, I said, listen, it's going to be really tough for him. It's going to be really tough for him at Real Madrid. Because, the pathway to the first team is even for the top talents in the world, we've seen enough of them go there. That, the path to the first team is very, very slippery. Yeah. And he should, in my opinion, he should have gone somewhere else where he could have played a lot more football, like Ajax or, some other top team around that's not at the Real Madrid Galacticos level,
Yeah.
So, he's 22 and he wants to play football. So, to be honest with you, Brownie, I don't think Odegaard wants to go back to Real Madrid, to be honest with you.
Jeez. I'm trying to think how long his contract is for. I can't see it anywhere.
I'm not quite sure for that one, but I know it's long term.
Player power does have a massive effect on no one wants an unhappy player within a dressing room. So, maybe... No, this is nothing with Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans, most of them are saying he plays as a cam, centre midfield. Now, we know that Emil Smith-Rowe has basically made that position his own at the moment. But I've seen him play for Real Sociedad on the right.
He can play out on the right as well. What he does a lot is he'll start out left, or he'll position himself out right. He'll position himself out right, and he'll drift in a lot. He'll drift backwards and forwards a lot, right to the middle, right. To get that space, because he likes to be out wide where he can, be more influential, maybe with crossing and passing into the middle, or he'll move into the middle where he can put the ball through the defense. So. He'll drift out wide and drift back in. And when you look at the heat map of him at Real Sociedad, it's basically very, very red, dark red from the middle out to the right flank, to the right wing. So he moves in those areas.
So can you see Arteta playing to his strengths, as in possibly changing the formation, I suppose?
Well, this is what's very interesting, Brownie, because I've been racking my brains on that ever since it was announced. Because I know Odegaard, and everyone that's telling me over here as well about Odegaard is he's come to Arsenal to play football. Yeah. He hasn't come to Arsenal to sit on the bench, because he can do that at Real Madrid. Yeah. So he's come to Arsenal.
To Real Sociedad because they promised him games, and it was going to be a 2-year loan deal with them. He was on his way
Yeah,
back
there
there.
was. I know
And then,
Real
Arteta,
Sociedad were in there, and there was other clubs in there as well. There was about 6 clubs in for him, I think, who were all offering him first team football. But then Arsenal came in quite late, and Arteta and Edu called him up and talked to him and convinced him. And you've got to remember, Odegaard, he's not an Arsenal fan, but he does like Arsenal. He's got a lot of respect for Arsenal because growing up, Arsenal was a very, very big team. Very, very good team with Fabregas, and Fabregas is one of his idols as well. So so it meant a lot to him, and he did. And Wenger personally brought him over, to train with the club and had a tour of Emirates and trained for a few days with Arsenal to try and convince him back then to come to Arsenal, but he didn't. They went for Real Madrid. But yes, I mean he does have a connection with Arsenal, so he chose Arsenal. But yeah, but the thing is he's got to be playing football. He hasn't come to Arsenal to not play football. So a lot of people are saying, and I must say I agree with it, and I can see it happening. Is I don't know if Arteta will have the balls to do it. I would love to try for him to try, and as you can actually play Smith Rowe and Odegaard at the same time, with Partey holding, behind them in a 3 there in the middle, where you have, Smith Rowe in the middle role, and then maybe Odegaard just a bit off to his right, but in an attacking role. And then you got Partey holding behind them, being the defensive anchor there, basically. And you could play both of them because defensively it works because Odegaard, he can press. He works hard. He's got a good work rate. And he can press as well. So he can do the job Arteta wants. And I'm sure that's one of the things Arteta has identified.
I'm just wondering, Sam, whether, as you just touched upon, whether or not he has the balls. Because
that's the thing, you see.
He's now found a winning formula.
Yes, I think
he's in formula that he wanted.
The last couple of games now, where Partey and Xhaka have been playing together, it has worked well in the deep lying role there in the middle. So you've got one attacking player and 2 deep lying players. It seems to be the formula that's working at the moment. He might as well stick to that. But then you've got that. Okay, what's he going to do with Odegaard? Is he going to is he going to move him out right then? I can't see Odegaard being that right wing role that Saka has. That's different. That's more attacking. So I don't think it's that. But I know it would have to be a rotating role, I think, with Smith Rowe. He's going to be playing games for Smith Rowe, and Smith Rowe's going to be coming on and maybe playing a game here and there as well. But at the end of the day, I just can't see why Odegaard would come to Arsenal to sit on the bench. I just don't think that is going to be the case.
I think just to start off, I think you would. I think it could be a solution to Arsenal's right-hand side.
Well, Saka's playing very well there at the moment. You see, that's the thing. He's Saka, and that what Saka, that's like a right wing role or inside forward role. Yeah. It's a much more attacking role than what Odegaard normally. And Odegaard is normally a right midfielder, right attacking midfielder. Not that inside forward role. That's more attacking. That's more towards goal. So I think that's a bit too far up the pitch, really, for Odegaard, in my opinion. But it is possible. I mean, tactically, it is possible, and like I said, a lot of people have been presenting this idea. Yeah. Is for that 3 in the middle, basically. It's like what Man City do quite often as well. You'll have 2 attacking players and 1 holding player, and that's what Arsenal can do with Smith Rowe and Odegaard.
Well, we'll just go to comments for a minute, Sam.
Yeah, sure. Go through the comments.
Apologies, I'm doing it on my phone, guys, so I do apologise.
But big up everyone in the chat. Hit the like button.
Yeah. Bargav.
Yes, Odegaard, my friend. Yes,
he's picked up on something in which has been spoken a lot, which regards he's worried about his injuries, in which he's picked up. Now, we have spoke about this recently, Sam, and I think on someone else's channel, may have been an Arsenal fan circle. Big up to them as well. But he has had issues with his legs, hasn't he?
His calves, his calves. He'll get some muscle injuries in his calves. He had that because I think he just goes through that when you're playing so much football at such a young age that he's been doing, I think, you can see with so many other young players as well, it does become, an issue with your muscles, doesn't it? I mean, we saw, unfortunately, Jack Wilshere got his career, ruined with his ankles and calves. And, we see it with so many other players now. It's too much football, too high intensity from a young age.
I agree.
And you get to
what
so
you do
many,
see now,
yeah.
what you do see now is that players seem to be peaking much earlier, which means by the time they're 30, some of them are just down.
Exactly. Yeah,
look at
exactly.
Rooney. Look at Rooney, and Rooney is an example of an older person. I can see in the next decade or two, players being done by the time they're 28, 29.
Exactly. By the time they're 30, like you say, that's it. They're done. And yeah, because players. I agree with you. I think you make a good point there. That I think I agree. I think players do peak earlier now because they come through at an earlier age. They develop earlier, and they can get into teams at an earlier age. And then with that level of intensity and training and at that young age, if you're not doing real good, preventative, physiotherapy, that real, that work you have to do in between sessions and after games and everything. If that's not being taken seriously, you're going to have problems. And I think that's what happens. That's what's happened a lot with Odegaard is he's just been playing too much and too much intensity. And he has had a few injuries. No serious injuries.
No, I know, but it seems to be a recurring.
It's a recurring injury. That's the thing. That's the thing. He'll play maybe 2 or 3 games, and then he'll probably have to rest one because he'll just be too tight again. His calves will feel too strained again. And then he'll have to rest again. And then he can play again.
Yeah. Because Sociedad, they weren't in the best. They weren't in the best run of forms at one point last year. I know that, and unfortunately, if you've got players available, you play them just to see.
Well, if you don't have a big, that's the thing, right? If you don't have a big squad, and the player is physically fit enough to play, he says, "Yeah, I can play." Basically, I can. That's what they do, right? They'll play them and play them and play them, and it really is up to the physio team to make sure they have that, recuperation in between and everything. And that's one thing. I think that's one of the reasons why Arsenal has so many injuries. Is not only is because of the intensity and everything, the way they play, but it's the Arsenal have got a lot of criticism by people who have been within the setup there who have left. That they're not good. They're not good at that preventative side. They're not really working on the preventative side of everything. So it's a worry.
He was diagnosed with issues with a knee tendons because of, but it said a problem occurred some months earlier, simply because he wasn't. Basically the old-fashioned way, Sam, just chuck a needle in it.
Yeah.
Chuck a needle in it, and you can go.
You're good to go.
If you know you've got a problem, players just try and go as far as they can with that problem, carrying that problem. Yeah. And then with the help of clubs, let's be honest, especially if it's a loan signing, then he's not he's not technically a club asset, is he?
Nah.
So that's. I can see the issues why.
Sorry, I can't hear. Oh, there you go. I can hear you now.
Yeah,
sorry. Your sound dropped out there. Yeah.
Someone tried to ring me.
Right.
I can see why Arsenal fans are worried, but I think I think it's completely different. The circumstances so completely different to where he was at at Arsenal. I don't think the worry should be there regarding the injuries.
No, and he says right now, again, of course, we don't know if this is 100% true or not, of course, but I'm just going off of what has been said in recent interviews with him. And in recent interviews with him, he has said he is fully fit. He feels good. He's fully fit and he's ready to play.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, well, do you think, as a whole, Sam, do you think that you'll be ready for the Premier League or not?
Well, you and me, Brownie, you and me agree on this. No, you and me, we agree on this point that the Premier League is a different animal. It's a different animal. It doesn't matter where you've come from, whether you've come from the best team in France, Germany, you come from the best Scottish team, the best wherever. Yeah, the Premier League is a different animal. It's more physical, it's quicker, it's more demanding, it's more difficult. Yeah. So, it's virtually impossible to say, isn't it? Because we've seen on countless occasions big name players, big good players who do bits in their own with the league where they've come from, and they come to the Premier League and they just flop. And we've got countless examples, right? And the biggest, and I will say, and I've said this in recent podcasts, and I will hold my hands up. And I've actually said this in recent podcasts. You can go and check that. In my opinion, at the moment, at this time, Arsenal has the biggest flop ever in the Premier League, in the Premier League era. In the Premier League era, Arsenal right now has the biggest flop ever because Pepe, in my opinion, is a huge flop, and he cost £72 million. And I'm just saying, at the moment, he could be outdone by Kai Havertz if Kai Havertz doesn't start.
I was thinking that.
He could because he costs more. He costs more and is not doing anything. But listen, he's just arrived, so we've got to give him some time, which is only right. Russ, I see you in the chat there. Don't you start without giving time rubbish. I know you're right. And big up Russ, everyone in the chat. And the thing is, so Kai Havertz, he's got to get a bit more time. But if he's a flop, he's going to be the biggest. But right now, 72 million quid, Pepe, biggest flop in Premier League history. Yeah. As an Arsenal fan, it hurts me to say that, but it's the truth. It is the truth.
So they definitely had their pants pulled down.
So going back to Odegaard, right? I can't really. It's going to be hard to predict, but based on what I've seen him do, and I've seen him play through the Real Sociedad games and Real Madrid games. Yeah. Based on what I've seen from him and from what I know, his character, what he's like, I do think he can succeed at Arsenal. I think so as well. If he's given the playing time and he's put in the role where he's suited, he's not shoehorned in somewhere else, then I think he can actually start playing really well because that boy has abilities that are amazing. I mean, they really are. I've seen him do passes that I've never. I mean, you only see maybe the Zidanes, the Maradonas. I know I'm really blowing his trumpet here now, but that it's that type of vision I've seen from him on the football field, and it's special. It's unique, and if he can link up with the other players like that, maybe a Saka, a Martinelli, maybe even Aubameyang if Aubameyang finds some form again, because we know he's been through some tough private issues now. So hopefully if he bounces back from that and starts finding some form, he can do those. That's what I'm saying. Odegaard will be perfect feeding him those balls in behind defence to Aubameyang, and that's just going to be interesting to see. And the stats I've seen on him, stats we can always say, stats, but there's one very interesting stat I've seen, which you can take it or leave it, of course, but I absolutely love this stat, and that is that when it comes in terms of productivity per game, in terms of what he produces in, positive passes, that means passes that actually sort of, that they do. It's not passing backwards; it's passing forwards, and also key chances and chances created. He has better. He is the top player in the La Liga. He has better stats than Messi. That is a crazy stat. I can show you that stat. I've got it. I sent it around on Twitter, but it's an amazing stat, and it's one that really shows what kind of promise there is in him.
I think it'll work out well. I have said it, and I think it'll work out well, and I hope he does rip a new one in the Premier League.
I'd love
And
it. You know
the good
what?
thing about it as well, Sam, is that he's going to a team who have got a good number of players within his age bracket.
Younger kids. Yeah, exactly. He'll blend.
Can work.
I think he'll gel with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're apparently, from what I can tell and from what we read, they're not, they get on well together. All these youngsters, they're a good group of kids, and I think they'll bring in Odegaard in together with them, and I think he could work quite well. I think they could gel quite well, and I'd really love to see if Arteta could have the balls to do it. I would absolutely love to see Odegaard and Smith Rowe play together with Partey protecting behind. I mean, the potential there in Smith Rowe and Odegaard, I mean, that's just scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Together with Saka, with what Saka's doing as well, and Martinelli, his potential, you're looking at a front line of Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard. I mean, if that doesn't make you piss your pants as a defender, what is?
It's very similar to what you're saying. Is very similar to how West Ham was set up, isn't it? I suppose. But you just want the one anchor man, basically.
That's what Manchester City do. Manchester City do it quite often. They'll just have a Rodri or someone holding,
or someone.
and then they'll have a Bernardo Silva and a Gundogan or something like that in front.
Well, we'll go to the chat and then we'll start wrapping up then, Sam.
Yeah.
Right.
Big up Taib was in the house. Taib was in the house together with Russ.
Taib.
Nice to see you guys.
Russ has come back and said, give Pepe some time.
Exactly. I knew he was going to say that.
What else we got? Hi, Taib. Well, I don't know, legends maybe, but...
legends. Bellends. Fucking bellends.
Let's go. Here we go. 5 chances against Southampton. I'm not, personally, Sam, I'm not counting the FA Cup this year. I know that it's a trophy, but the season is so crammed. And I don't know about you, but I'm
disappointed.
I'm seeing a trend in which is definitely
seeing
that teams are holding off.
They've done it. They've done it. Listen, they've done it. The FA Cup hasn't been a priority for most teams for a long time. They'll play a weakened team where they can. It's a lower priority. Unfortunately, I disagree with that. I think it should be it should be viewed as a trophy that could be won. It should be taken seriously, especially when you're only in January. I mean, it'd be different. It'd be different if it was, if you had to choose between an FA Cup like semi-final or quarter-final and a Champions League quarter-final, whatever. You've got a Champions League game coming straight after. Okay, I would say then you rest a few players for the FA Cup and you want them rested for the Champions League game just after. Or a very key one of the last games of the season in the Premier League where you really need those 3 points. I would get that, but when you're in January and there's 19 games to go, you got to play your best team and try and advance in the cup because the cup is a trophy. It's a very. I know what you're saying. I agree with you completely. The money's not there, and the money is a fact.
The money's disgraceful.
But in terms of the trophy, it's arguably the most famous domestic trophy in the world of football. They've
slashed it so much now. The prize money in the Copa del Rey. Now, Copa del Rey is treated like bollocks over here.
Yeah, they don't really care about it, do they? No.
Copa del Rey prize money is 3 times as much as the FA Cup prize money.
Yeah, the FA Cup is terrible because it goes a lot of it's done through charity and stuff like that. There's not really a lot of money poured into it because it's supposed to be a prestige competition, not a money competition, all that. And I get all that, but the thing is, the clubs just don't take it as seriously
clubs
as they should.
Operate on prestige; they operate on money.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right about that.
Right, okay. No worries. Where can people find you, Sam?
Well, I don't have a channel anymore. That became too much of a hassle, so I don't have a channel anymore. So
I know what Alfie would like to play.
But yeah, I'm on Twitter. People can follow me on Twitter. It's at 1980_Greenwood. And also, but I'm mostly on as a panelist like now. here with Brownie. I'm on with other people on other people's channels, like the Mr. Arsenal podcast with Ryan, the Blind Gooner with Daniel. I'm on the Arsenal fan circle, the American lads. Tuesday, very late. Tuesday, quite late evening, but then not Tuesday, Sunday evening. Normally they're on there. I'm not on there, but I'm very late Thursday nights. I'm on there, and yeah, so basically just on everyone else's channel, really doing watch-alongs and reviews and stuff.
We all appreciate you, Sam. We all appreciate you.
I just want to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for inviting me. It's been good. It's been good. It's been nice.
Who else to talk about it? It's much better me doing it on the phone now, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, Brownie. I was just going to say this. The clarity of what you're doing, what you are now, and that camera you're on now, is very, very nice. It's very good, very clear, very good quality, and the internet you're using now is a lot better than what you had before. It's a lot clear. It's a lot clearer and a lot more stable. So what you're doing right now, in terms of the camera you're using right now, is one you need to stick with it. It's looking very good.
Well, I'll stick with it until I get to monetization. So that could be ages away yet.
Oh, anyway, I just want to say congratulations on passing the 400 mark.
Yeah, no.
You're growing. You're growing now for maybe for a lot of the wrong reasons, but you're still growing anyway.
I didn't want to touch on those. Right, and for I do have genes on it.
Yeah, you got them on. Where's the tissue in the lube? Where's the tissue in the lube?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I tell you what, did you see AFTV taking a piss out of him as well?
Oh, jeez. Everyone's doing it. Everyone knows about it. It's become a meme, innit, on the fucking social media now, hasn't it? Jesus Christ.
Oh, jeez. I know. Yeah. But thanks a lot anyway, Sam.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for everyone in the chat as well. Russ and Taib and all the legends. It's good to see you guys.
Oh, and we just had Bradley come in as well. Keep up the good work. Thanks, mate. Many thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.